Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's 11 p.m. deep in the heart of Ohio. This is Field Investigations with Agent J. I'm here at the desk, files open, coffee hot, and the unknown waiting just beyond the static. Tonight, the veil thins, strange lights drift, silent over empty fields. Faint voices murmur from the dark tree line. Shapes move just outside the edge of sight. And that familiar high strangeness creeps back into the places we thought were safe. If you've seen something that shouldn't be there, something that makes your skin crawl, something that keeps you staring at the ceiling long after the house goes quiet, please pull up a chair, turn up the volume, and join me. The chat is live, so drop your encounters, your questions, and your nightmares. No judgment and no filters, because out here after dark, anything is possible. Let's investigate. Welcome back to our second to our show for our second Friday show. And happy Friday the 13th, everyone. The official Friday the 13th. I know we discussed it shortly as part of our episode last week. But we got a big focus on it today. I hope everybody's had a good one. I know the superstition really does seem to be one that has an actual real world effect sometimes if maybe if you believe a little too much of it. But anyway, guys, buckle in. I hope you're ready. We're gonna touch on some of the old history and myth of the Friday the 13th superstition. I know we talked about it last week, but man, I found so much of it fascinating. Uh, the number 13 in general carries kind of misfortune, bad vibes, and has for, my lord, thousands of years. Welcome, chat. Chat, I just got you guys up. I see you guys there. Hello, hello, movie stud. Jen, nice to see you guys back. Hopefully I don't get taken down for that. Welcome, guys. We're going to chat about Friday the 13th here. Movie stud, it sounds like you might be interested in our last block coming up here in just a little bit of time. Going over the Friday the 13th film series, which I did promise we would talk about after our discussion last time. But as I said, we're gonna start off with our myths on and where they all come from. In many cultures, 12 is considered the a perfect number. There are 12 months, 12 zodiac signs, 12 hours on a clock, and 12 apostles. Obviously, the 13th being being Judas. 13 disrupts that harmony, brings chaos. Romans saw 13 as an omen, often of death or misfortune. Some link it, as I had kind of stated, to the biblical Last Supper, the 13 at the table, Jesus plus the 12 apostles, Judas, the 13th, being the betrayer of Jesus, sealing his crucifixion fate. My favorite one, being the titles to Norse mythology, and the 12 gods that were sat at the feast in Valhalla when Loki, the trickster god, crashed as the uninvited 13th guest. He in this manipulates the blind warrior Hodor to kill Balder, the god of light and joy, with a mistletoe arrow. Balder dies, the gods grieve, and the world darkens, and Ragnarok begins. Folklore experts call this the meta-folklore. It's the later story explaining why 13 feels wrong, blending betrayal at the hands of Loki. 13's, it's interesting, the number 13 in general. Some people consider it unlucky, while many consider it, extremely lucky. A good friend of mine, it's his lucky number as far as you can throw it. And wanted to move the chat somewhere where I could read it better. It's just a funny thing. My favorite baseball player of all time, Omar Vizquel, wore lucky number 13 on his jersey throughout his career. I don't know if I would do that. I'm not superstitious about the number 13, but at the same time, I'm a little stitious, and I'll absolutely pick a different number if there's a choice. 100% of the time. And then on to Friday, the part of Fridays being Friday the 13th, it alone has a lot of baggage. In Christian tradition, just sticking with our stories here, Jesus was crucified on Friday, the ultimate day of sacrifice, betrayal, execution, which which is fine. We'll go into that. Some texts tie Friday to Eve tempting Adam with the apple, or Cain slaying Abel. What would that imply? That it only took them a week before Eve just caved, right? Cain slaying Abel. None of these biblical dates, mind you, people. I think you can look into them though if you'd like. I'm sure there's somebody that's carbon dated it. Medieval Europe has Hangman's Day, and where executions were often on Friday to maximize fear. Witches' covens rumored to meet on Fridays, ideally with 13 members, on full moons to maximize their power. Friday felt cursed before meeting 13, but thus it became legend. That's a bad one. I thought that would drop better than I did. The most cited origin, which I know we talked about. Just checking here. Can you guys touch me in the get me in the chat again? Let me know if we're still sounding good. My studio is having an issue. We've been having power issues where I am at all day, and my internet as well. So I just lost connection. Somebody pop in the chat for me.
A few moments later.
In the chat. Hey, you know what? We'll try to check it. Check. Hello, guys. I don't know if we're still going. I do think we might have to call it a night on this one, sadly, because I'm having terrible Wi-Fi issues. Are you okay? Did cut out for a minute, but it seems okay now. Okay, perfect. Man, that was panicking me. I was worried about that all day. We did lose power about 4 times today, on and off, and I was concerned. It's not even storms. We have biblical winds here in Ohio right now. I appreciate the chat for jumping in, letting me know what's going on. I am going to try. Check. Hello? Well, I mean, while we're at it, we'll get back into this, I suppose. The most cited origin, Friday the 13th, being Friday, October 13th of 1307, King Philip IV of France, deep in debt with the wealthy Knights Templar, um, allies with the Pope, Clement V, coordinated down raids, arrests hundreds, and they're tortured for heresies. Spitting on the cross, out of worship, sodomy. Master Jacques de Molay burns at the stake years later. Legends say he curses the king and pope from the flames. They die soon after. Philip of a stroke while hunting, and Clement of a sudden illness. Historians naturally claim the timing is eerie, of course, or is strictly coincidence, while eerie. But no direct proof has given any real birth to the superstition. You can find links to it pretty much anywhere. I mean, the Da Vinci Code gives its examples, because they like the Templar thing. But there's answers to these everywhere, and I think it's important that you take it from where you do. Origins often track it just to the late 19th and early 20th century, to like the real kind of the way we meet it. And I'm gonna give this one a try. There's a phobia of Friday the 13th, and actually, chat. I want, if you can all look up right now the phobia of Friday the 13th, and we're gonna give it a go together. There's two of them. There's two that come up when you Google it. One that ties it kind of to the Norse thing, but I think the official one is the Paris Gedev. Paraskividicatria I don't know if I did bad on that. Or Frigatrisk Edecaphobia is the Norse Scottish one. Frigatrisk Edecaphobia. I actually kind of like the second one more, Frigatrisk Edecaphobia. But I think the word deca has always been cool. Does anybody know anybody that's wildly superstitious about Friday the 13th? Oh, okay, we still got everybody in the chat. I'm gonna back out of this here real quick and see if this fixes the issue on my end, which I doubt it will. Okay, this. We'll do everything we can to just keep it going, I guess. Ties to modern stuff. Digging into this is where I was kind of having a little fun, and I actually added a couple things to my reading list. Apparently, there's a novel by Thomas W. Lawson from 1907 called Friday the 13th. It was a bestseller that sold over 1 million copies. I don't know if that means no. Although the bartender aren't, my bartender friends aren't big fans. I couldn't imagine they would be, right? I mean, those days have to be awful for them, whether it be by superstition or by people choosing sheer stupidity. I can't. The bestseller of over 1 million copies. A plot: a ruthless broker exploits superstition to crash Wall Street on Friday the 13th. Brokers allegedly refused trades on the date afterwards. Ironically, Lawson died broke in 1925. The book turned vague fear into shared nightmare, primed mass anxiety. This one, is something I'm adding to my list. I'm gonna see if I can find. I think it's a short. From what I saw, it was pretty short. So it'd be neat. real disasters we have on Black Friday. There are brush fires on January 13th, 1939 in Australia, killing 71, and with over 2 million acres burned in the brush fire. Uruguayan Flight 571 crashes in the Andes Mountains, October 13th, 1972. 45 aboard. 16 survive, 72 days of hell, which includes cannibalism, tales of cannibalism. The Costa Concordia capsizes January 13th, 2012, 32 dead. Apollo 13 explosion April 13th, 1970 at 13:13 Houston launch time. No causation, but our pattern spotting brains like to draw their little lines, don't they? Everyday superstitions, we see them in hotels. Some hotels, in 80% of high rises skip 13th floors. Airlines avoid row 13. Studies show more mishaps are noticed on the date due to anxiety. Self-fulfilling prophecies, I think. Let's be clear. Well, maybe. I mean, maybe not. There's a thought on that I would love. I just had a great conversation with a friend about being able to will things, how we will things into existence. I might even have mentioned it a couple days ago. But it's reported that up to $800 to $900 million, close to $1 billion, is lost annually, due to travel and shopping avoidance on the date. You want anybody to do a really solid, like, data collection for any statistic. Tell them to find out how much money somebody lost. They will figure that. You'll have the most accurate infographic in front of you've ever seen. Yeah, the Apollo 13 one, Jen in the chat. The Apollo 13 one's pretty intense, right? That one, man, the NASA conspiracy theory is a really fun one. It's a hard one to do, I think, accurately. But we're gonna be doing that. Absolutely. But man, can you guys believe that almost $1 billion a year just because people are like, you know what, today just is not the day. Now, guys, 2026. I don't know how your year has been, but it seems like we've been in just in the whole thing is one long Friday the 13th. When in fact it is the second we've had already this year. And guys, the second of 3. Meaning, November 13th, 2026 will also be a Friday the 13th. That is the most possible that you can have in a year, the way the math's out. Now, that does happen every 11, 12 years, but buckle up, people. These Fridays are here to stay. Now, that does, especially with how close it will be to the end of the Halloween season, numbers allowing, maybe we'll be doing a live, maybe I'll do a watch along episode of a Friday the 13th. We'll do voting on it, but it's a long way off. But man, does it provide a nice evening for these types of shows, doesn't it? I wanted to, of course, touch on the Friday the 13th film series, so buckle up, guys, in the chat. If as we go through this, I think we'll take a second to kind of stop and talk about each one. Of course, we have the original Friday the 13th, written by Sean Cunningham, or written written and directed by Sean Cunningham, co-written by Victor Miller. Camp Crystal Lake is a cursed lake, basically, camp. In 1957, a camper by the name of Jason Voorhees drowns in the camp lake due to negligent camp counselors. Years later, his mother, Pamela Voorhees, gets a job as the cook of said camp and begins to pick off the counselors who she sees as responsible for killing her child. Throughout the movie, they talk about, it's rumored that the killer is Jason Voorhees himself, back from the dead. Now, I'm not trying to spoil anything, but this movie came out in 1980. Go see it. It's everywhere. It's on right now. I promise you. Turn your television on. Turn the volume all the way down so you can hear my dulcet tones. But put on a Friday the 13th. I promise it's on. But the killer is indeed Pamela Voorhees in that movie, and at the end of it, she is beheaded. But the series kind of took off after that. It's a shame we never really got much more of Alice, the aforementioned head chopper offer. But it spawned a series that went a fairly different direction, tonally even. There were recent things I was reading that were kind of a re-examination of the film, and I've even heard some people that worked on the film at the time, and who I've definitely heard say complete alternatives to the story, but we're talking about how it's a movie about a mother's grief, in the ways that we take out our these types of things. And I couldn't help but just shut that piece of shit off, because that's absurd. I get it. That media is out there. I promise you, I support it. Sean Cunningham wanted to make another movie. I think he said he wanted to make a hockey picture. And they're like, no, you have to make this first, or we need to make something that we can make money on first. And they're like, what about horror movies? And I'm like, we guess. And they wrote it in like 90 hours. I mean, I spend more time on. I don't spend more time on these episodes. I don't. Clearly, I've probably spent that amount of time in doing this whole thing from start to finish, though. But that movie always stands out. I watched it just a few months ago. Twice recently, actually, both on this past Friday the 13th, but then we had another one at the end of last year I watched it on. Part 2, we see the infamous Jason Voorhees return from the dead, but not quite in his now infamous look with hockey masks and Oshkosh Bagosh or whatever he's wearing. He appears in this with kind of a burlap sack with an eye hole cut out, but takes place 5 years later, and these damn kids come back to the camp trying to reopen it, and here comes old Sackhead chasing them through the woods. 2's good. I mean, of course, bringing Jason back was the clearly correct choice, and by clearly I mean I know those people make tons of money on that still. But the 3rd is where, of course, Jason 3D Part 3 in 3D is what it's called, released 1982. Introduced the 3D gimmick, which if you bought the DVDs or the VHS, it did come with a couple pairs of 3D glasses taped to the box. And boy, is it a treat. It truly is a treat to view. If you get a chance to go and see it at a theater or a drive-in, They re-show them every year all over the place. It is. Jen in the chat. Yeah, Jen in the chat says it's crazy that we go so long without getting a proper Jason and a hockey mask in those movies. It is, um, almost 5 full hours of your life before you get to see Jason 4 in the hockey mask. But the third one brings it in, introduced by a character named Shelly, who's this goofy punk who always has goofy shit. Shelly gets shot in the eye with a harpoon gun. Listen, a harpoon gun's kind of a famous weapon in the series, but I always found it odd. Why the hell they have a harpoon gun in like a camp in New Jersey? Yeah, 3 and 4. I believe parts of 3 and 4 are on the same night. Aren't we led to believe that after he kills that guy with the rabbit and stuff, that then it's a couple either days or weeks later or something like that? Movie stud, correct me on that, movie stud. That was a good question. I think I want to say you're right, but I think it starts 4 starts at the end of 3, but then skips time. Why do you have a gun in space? I just wish that line would have been murmured in Jason X. It had plenty of time to do so. Movie star, where'd you go? You were fact checking me. I want to make sure I was right, or that you were right, or one of us was right. I just want to make sure that the facts are right for the masses. Speaking of 4, the final chapter, I was actually just watching. Oddly enough, I did not watch 4 today. I should have. I do enjoy 4 a lot. The final chapter in 1984, where he meets his movie stud. Would you call our buddy Tommy Jarvis and Jason's ultimate rival? I mean, he's the guy we all wanted to see. Jennifer, you might recognize him. He was in those YouTube shorts we watched a few months ago. Played Tommy Jarvis, that same actor, Thomas Mayhew, or Tom Matthews, whatever it is, was in it, in those shorts. But Tommy Jarvis is the best Friday the 13th protagonist for sure. But we meet him here, played by Corey Feldman, and this is what I was touching on earlier. I had watched a really touching video with Corey Feldman, Will Wheaton, and Jerry O'Connell talking about doing this reunion thing this year without Rob and then clearly River. And I really want Corey Feldman to come back for another Tommy Jarvis movie. I would like him to come back as Tommy Jarvis. With the bleached hair and stuff. I think that'd be rad. 4 was good though. I mean, it had Jason had probably his second best or third best look. Some say the best. I actually, I'll probably put it a little further down. But I'm real hype on a couple others. But 4 was really good. This family that lived on the other side of the lake. That's what it was. Movie stud. I don't think 4 took place necessarily on the lake. Wasn't it on the other side of the lake? But yeah, that ends with Tommy putting Jason's boat with Corey Feldman going up. There's this whole bit throughout the film where he is some sort of whiz kid at creating masks. Like he can make his own masks. Movie star, I'm asking you, bud. What do you do? Was it the other side of the lake? I don't know. Anyway, yeah, he can make these masks, or he was some weird, incredible 11-year-old Tom Savini. And he comes down, like, he goes upstairs and he gets all kinds of, like he goes upstairs and, like, gets all, what is it, like, latex bald cap and, like, stuffs it with cotton or something and makes his head all hydrocephalic. And he, like, goes full Gump on this guy pretending to be Jason Voorhees and then smacks him in the head with a machete. It's kind of like it felt like like the way you talk to an animal before you put it down or something like that. It was, but it was an 11-year-old and a 35-year-old hydrocephalic serial killer. My bartender, Jen in the chat, my bartender friend just texted me venting about the mess at work, blaming it on Friday the 13th. Hey, the curse is real. If we've learned anything tonight, the curse is real. Just adjust it. Okay, that sounds better. I'm getting a weird echo for some reason tonight in my headset, so keep trying to adjust it slowly to see if it fades off. And after that kill, I think the world expected Jason to go away. I mean, how much more could he take after being killed, in 4 films? Or technically, 4 films. Which takes us into part 5, which, on my rewatch this year, I realized I enjoy part 5 a whole stinking lot. And it's a shame they decided it wouldn't have been hard just to keep that Jason movie. It wouldn't have been hard. Kept everything in it, just got rid of the goofy guy doing the killings. I actually don't even think Jason looked bad in that movie. I think he looked a little skinny. I think he had kind of like skinny wrists, but I mean, the kills in that were epic. The effects were good. I loved 5. New Beginning. As what I'm talking about here is it deals with Tommy Jarvis. Now, clearly a nearly adult man, being sent to like a boarding school or an orphanage, I guess more accurately. No, it's like a halfway house for goofy kids for can't get rights, and people start dying, and of course Tommy's all can't get right, and his brain's all turned off, and people think it's him because maybe he's snapped and now he's killing people, and again, full of really great kills, really good looking stuff. It's a beautiful kind of looking movie. Like it's got a really, I think the like it cleaned up real well over the years. But then you like find out it's a dude. It's like a dude that his kid lived at this house and he was beaten up and killed, or some crap. And you just don't. The second that reveal happens, you just don't care. So I watch A New Beginning with the idea in my brain. Now, movie stud, follow along with this one with me and see, and you guys tell me what you think of this theory. So, part 5 to me is a Jason movie. All the credit kills were done by Jason, but when everything was said and done, they had to pin the murders on somebody. They didn't want to admit that Jason was back. Tommy needed that to happen, right? They were all in agreement. They're like, yo, this Jason guy cannot keep effing up these kids. So let's all lie to him, tell him Jason's dead. This is another crazy. He's going to go to jail, and nobody has to worry. But in reality, they're like, this dude's out there chopping dudes up. But alas, that actually cannot be the case because we do find out Jason is dead because he comes back to life in part 6. the best Tommy movie because he mistakenly resurrects Jason. His buddy is murdered. He gives gloves, like yellow gloves, to Jason, and it ruins his look for the rest of the film. And then escapes to what is now called, oh no, how did I forget this? That's upsetting. What is it? Forest Green? No. Yeah, Forest Green. Um, and whatnot, and of course, guess what these dumb bastards are doing? They're reopening the cave, the camp. They're like, yo, it's only been, I mean, yeah, they had to, again, Tommy Jarvis has shown up clearly now close to 35. So it's got to be a couple years since, final chapter. Um, and, but they're like, yeah, let's open this camp. Jason's clearly dead. Everybody in the town is like doing the same old, Jason dog shit. It's, hey, he's not dead. And all that. And lo and behold, he's not. He mows his way through some paintballers and like this really sick daytime scene that's kind of funny. It has easily one of my favorite bits in it where Jason's killing this, where it's a guy and this chick banging in like a Winnebago, and they're driving and she goes to use the restroom. Jason kills her in there, and the driver of this teen, he's like, he's like, what are you taking, a dump? And he goes, you should have told me, maybe I'll come back and watch. And he's like laughing, and then like she's like screaming because Jason's killing her, and he's just like sitting there. He cranks up the rain. He's like, "Ooh yeah," like really jamming to it. It's kind of, but my favorite line delivery of all time. He goes, "I'm having such a great time while this woman's being murdered in the background." It's morbid, but then it has this really wicked scene of Jason, like, because it flips. They ultimately end up flipping the Winnebago, and he's like standing on top of it with the light behind him. It's probably the best shot scene in the whole film. Really incredible. Great movie. Jason's back as a zombie undead. Tommy lures him on a lake, wraps a chain and a rock around him, drags his ass back down to the bottom where he drowns him again, and finally, like Shia LaBeouf, Jason is dead. But wait, he isn't dead. Jason's surprised. He's back in Jason the New Blood in 1988 with what many would say is the best Jason film, and I would probably agree it is my favorite of the original, my favorite of the Friday the 13th. So we're gonna go into what makes a Friday the 13th and what makes a Jason film. But probably my favorite of the Friday the 13th. It's got Lisa, the telekinetic girl. It's got a just absolutely wacky, wicked cast that you can't wait to hate. Every single one of them. You got a charming love interest who's effectively useless, but also not entirely useless. And could probably have done some damage. He's a big guy. Or Tina, I think it's Lisa. Tina. I think her mother's name was Lisa. Oh my gosh, yeah, movie stud. I can't believe you just said you skipped 7. Seven is one of the best ones, dude. It is the best one. According to the Blockbuster guy that turned me on to Friday the 13th when I was a child. But yeah, Tina and the electrocution, like in that puddle was cool. Her snapping his mask off his head was, and it like pussing and oozing was just too cool. It was goofy, but then again, Jason's a zombie. I mean, she busts his mask off, and his skull is just there. Great music. If you go and isolate just the music for that, it's got really incredible music in it. The sound mixing is some of the best you'll ever hear in those early Friday the 13th movies. It's got like these really incredible just background noises and popping sounds and stuff. I don't know. It sounds like a good party. It's a good movie. Um, Top tier, and I think it's probably where Jason looks the best. The best look for Kane Hodder, again in these Friday the 13th films. Taking us then to what I'm sure you're all excited for is Jason Takes Manhattan, which is Friday the 13th Part 8. Which everybody was really excited for. I remember the campaign for that wasn't alive, but or it was alive, but the campaign for this was, billboards everywhere and all this stuff, and it was really hyped that Jason was going to be killing people in New York, and, oh no. The New York takes place for about 7.5 minutes of the entire film. The rest of it's on on a boat. A boat that somehow gets from Camp Crystal Lake, but it launches from a marina that looks quite a bit like Maine. I don't know. I guess it could be Jersey. Anyway, and they take this boat. It's a graduating class of teenagers taking this boat that has somehow hooked the chain that is wrapped around Jason's neck and electrocutes him and brings him back to life. And he climbs up the boat, then kills all these kids in the boat. Great lines. Jason again looks incredible. We get Seven Kane's first film. No, Kane's first film. Yes, seven, 8, 9, 10. Yes, 7 would have been Kane's first as Jason. I believe he might have done stunt work in 6, like some stunt work, but then he was Jason in 6. Part 8 actually gives us two Jasons in that film. The Kane Hodder playing actual Jason, and then Ken Kurtzinger, who shows up in later entry as Jason Voorhees, is actually killed by Jason in a diner scene, thrown over the diner into this glass and stuff. It's actually really funny, and a really cool movie. But it's often considered the worst of the films. Part 8 was, sadly, and for good reason. Like at the end, he turns into a baby and is killed by sewage in New York. After a girl has like a mental breakdown. I don't know. It's not good, but it is good, if you know what I mean. I think you can enjoy it for not being good. But we're going to get into what introduced me to Friday the franchise, or the character at least, of Jason Voorhees, which was Jason Goes to Hell, released in 1993. This was a staple on here at my studio when I was a youngster, watching it in the old spooky attic. It was always on like a Friday or Saturday night double feature, or Svengoolie, or something like that. One of those types of shows that showed a low budget horror movie. And at this time, the movie really only would have been 5 or 6 years old, so it was getting played probably 4 or 5 times a year. And the TV version of it, considering that it's not that great anyway, the TV version is actually not bad to watch. They added a couple interesting scenes. I own it on VHS, actually, just that. But deals with what I think is first off, has the best opening of a Jason movie, in my opinion. Or maybe the third best now, and as time's gone on. But definitely the one I thought was the best for the longest time. He's chasing this woman who's in a towel, and then he gets trapped and blown up by like 200 FBI agents and grenades, and then the rest of the movie is absolute batshit crazy. It starts with a coroner eating Jason's heart, killing another coroner. Then just like spends the rest of the movie jumping from body to body until the end, where he does come back and we get our showdown with Clayton Duke of X-Files and Supernatural fame. Is guys from that. It's just a great movie. I think Jason's look in Jason Goes to Hell is just incredible. I have figures of this. He's like when we see Jason, and I don't even mind the body hopping. I think the body hopping's fine. The monsters are cool. They tied it into the Necronomicon. Like, that's all fun. Let's do that. But like the mask is kind of silvery and cracked, and his face is starting to grow around it a little bit, and he's kind of pussy, and his body's kind of swollen, and he looks gross, and he's just got a really, and it's peak Kane, you know, Jason, the first glimpse we get of him coming out of this cabin, he like does his classic Kane turn, puffs his chest, and you're just like, oh, I'm so here for this. And then we don't get him for the rest of the film, but it was really, really good. And of course, that movie ends with the Freddy Krueger claw coming up through the ground, grabbing Jason's mask and dragging it into the dirt. A tease that wouldn't come to fruition for quite a long time, 16 years, in fact. But until we get to that entry, we still have one more, and that's Jason X, the first one I got to see in theaters. I snuck into this film with my best friend at the time, still one of my best friends, absolutely. And we snuck into this film, and it changed our lives. Jason X is set in space, 500 years in the future. The whys and hows don't really matter, as they never do in any of the films. And it shouldn't matter. Jason gets shot into space after another really good opening. The opening to that movie is really great. He just mows dude. Jason's look, by the way, people hate the mask. I love it. The Jason X look is a classic look for me. Hardcore like that look. Especially better than the Jason Universe mask they have going on now. But the kills are outstanding. Kane is outstanding. The best scene of the best kill of any of the series, which everybody votes for, is the girl that gets her face frozen in nitrous oxide and then shattered on a desk. Oh, chef's kiss. Holograms, aliens. There's Jason knocks a guy onto this big corkscrew that this body then spirals down. It's insanity. And then at the end, he fights this guy in space, and they fall into like the atmosphere of another Earth. If you are listening to this right now and you have not viewed Jason X, please go watch the film immediately. If it's the first Jason you've ever seen, it doesn't matter. If you absolutely always hated the series, you don't like it, go watch it. Just be a grown-up and go view the media, because it's worth it, believe me. Coming back here to the chat, I'm seeing a lot of love for Jason. Jason X, Jason Goes to Space. The why is it's cool. The how, something cool. You're 100% right. It only takes something cool to get something cool to happen. After that, a full 16 years after the tease at the end of Jason Goes to Hell, we get Freddy vs. Jason, the epic crossover that has Freddy Krueger from the famous Nightmare on Elm Street franchise manipulating Jason into murdering for him so he can instill fear in the teens and hearts of the parents in Springwood, Ohio, and using Jason to do so, and thus sets loose a monster he can't even control, ending in an epic showdown back at Camp Crystal Lake between the two titans of horror, Jason and Freddy. The trailer for this movie was one of the best trailers and one of the my first trailers I ever pirated. I first downloaded it on Kaza, and I was really big in the message groups. I discovered IMDb strictly because of Freddy versus Jason. It was probably my beginning, but also my peak time on forums and message boards. But it was so good. The trailer for it has a line that I wish they wouldn't have cut, and I know they cut it because it was cheesy. But I don't care, and it was our main character, Monica Keena, going, of course she has to say it, and I'm upset that she doesn't, but she goes, Freddy versus Jason, place your bets, and like it's in the middle of the fight, and I remember being in the trailer and being so incredibly excited to hear that, and then so wildly disappointed that they cut it. But I digress. Coming back, this one should be my favorite, but I can't help but hold on to love for 7 and X. I mean, of course, Jason X is just so good, and of course so is 7. And then of course we do have the reboot, which takes us back to the more Friday the 13th, or the title of Friday the 13th. Has a little bit of the more classic Friday the 13th vibes. No more space, no more other comedy or horror classics villains popping up. Just pure Camp Crystal Lake carnage. This time we get a group of teenagers that go missing after searching for a lost patch of growing marijuana out in the woods. That is the longest opening scene I think in film before the title. Like it's 22 minutes I think from the beginning of that film to the title card where it says Friday the 13th. And I love the beginning of that. People shut it off quickly because that's where Jason runs. I think it's a terrifying run. Derek Mears is the Jason in this film. I'm sorry, I meant to bring it up. Ken Kersinger was the Jason in the last film, or in Freddy vs. Jason. This one being Derek Mears, a massive human being, very tall. The movie's good. A lot of people don't like it, but I love it. I think it's a good movie. The chat seems to agree. She said they feel like they had a Cheech and Chong cameo. That would have been hysterical. Yeah, movie stud. That's funny. Jen goes, I don't super love the reboots, but I do hold a deep appreciation for for the return to form they have. And it has one of my most favorite kills as well. Yeah, that movie has really, really great kills. I have one in mind that really, gets me going. It's the one in the boat. It's not a gross one. It's one with the boobs. There's boobs. Then movie stud in the chat. I feel like when they go find the pot, I feel like they could have had. Yeah, that's the Cheech and Chong. Yeah, that would have been very funny. Like, just like, hey man, don't let people know. $12 films, billions of dollars in merch. Jason, the silent, unstoppable hockey mask wearing symbol of the franchise that really launched today's date into the stratosphere of popularity. It's the film series has kind of hit a bit of a snag recently, which is a shame. But the Jason universe, which is now what Paramount has put out as the kind of studio over the franchise from here going forward. While they did release something last year, I believe have taken it down and have not released a thing since, other than a couple of shorts. I do believe they released one today that looks like trash. So that I have no faith in. Um, but hey, what are we gonna do? We just look forward to more content. I can still go back and revisit the video game. If nobody played the video game, it was a great time. You think you have to be on private servers now to be able to play. Um, but really, really cool stuff, I think. But what's your favorite part about the Friday the 13th myth? Are you a fan of the superstitious kind of paranormal, spooky aspect of it, or are you one that the holiday inspires you to open up that old VHS or DVD, Blu-ray set and pop in your favorite Friday the 13th? Are you one that likes to, stay in and avoid shopping, to avoid the maddening masses outside due to the date? Or are you one to sit down and put on the what they used to call the kill streak? There was a series of those that came out on DVD that you go to the special features and you would put it on. It was just called Kill Streak. I think most of the slasher movies at the time did it. I know Halloween H2O did it. Jason X did it. I'm not sure if Freddy vs. Jason did it. Not on the one I have, I don't believe. But basically, you could go to a kill streak or whatever, and you could just go to that part, and all you would get to see is the kills. You wouldn't have to watch any of the movie. But then maybe you're one of those people that just wants to, kind of just get in for a night to watch Jason do crazy stuff. Those movies are, I'm just such a big fan of them. I've always loved them. I do my own artwork of them. I've done my own story writing of them. I've read the Eric Morse books, which was a series in the 90s. If you guys ever decide to check those out, Eric Morse, they're not audiobooks. You can find them. Actually, where I found them was here on YouTube. There is a gentleman that reads them, and each one's about 5 hours. And just let this kid take you through them. They're good. They're about people finding various items of Jason's and him possessing them. It's usually his mask. I think one is the machete. The other might be a shirt. I might be mixing something up there. But they're interesting. I own most of the comics. I'm a big fan of those. And again, I like to write my own stuff. I would love to do my own Friday the 13th short one day. But hey, we're all wishful thinkers. But we are in the last minute here. Actually, as we speak, it is now Saturday the 14th. To which we'll be turning our episode to the famous All That sketch, Saturday the 14th, starring Keenan and Kel. Let's go! Just kidding. I don't have anything prepared on that, but I thought it was a funny bit. If you guys don't remember that episode, look that up, because it is Saturday the 14th, and that is the day you should be celebrating. I appreciate you guys for coming. I hope this episode left you guys with some fun tidbits to think about, and maybe made you want to go revisit some of the old Jason movies if you haven't done it in a while, or maybe read some up on some old Knights Templar and have your day ruined. As of the next episode, I don't know if I will do one Saturday or today or tomorrow, however you want to look at it. Tomorrow, let's say tomorrow since today's today. I'm not sure if I'll do one tomorrow night. If anything, it might be something quick, or if I can get this phone system figured out, we can launch that. But if if I don't hear from you guys, or if you don't hear from me tomorrow, check in with me Tuesday. We'll have a brand new episode up for you, revisiting, you know, some interesting stuff. I really wanted to touch base and maybe recap our week and sit and talk for a little bit. But man, this Friday the 13th episode ended up taking the whole dang time. Thank God. All right, guys. Well, I appreciate you being here. The chat was busy tonight, which is always great to see. Movie Stud, Jen, thanks for coming back. I hope you guys come back on Tuesday to chat some more. I really want to get into this green man monster from the Pittsburgh area my buddy was telling me about. I found some information on it. Not enough for an episode, but I think enough for an interesting section and maybe a block I have some thoughts for. So we'll touch on that. If even if tomorrow, if you guys want to come around at the same time, maybe we won't or something, and we'll just read MUFON files or go over Bigfoot files or something. But like I said, if you don't see me here, you'll see me Tuesday for our normal time. Stay spooky, be kind, and go to bed.